I've done more than 150 commercials for some of the biggest international brands in the world. I've appeared on TVs, billboards, cinemas. I've also been in some of the biggest fashion shows in the world like Dubai Fashion Week, Abu Dhabi Fashion Week, Emirates. Okay, you get the point. I know I sound super annoying. But the main idea is that I was just a super shy, relatively unattractive kid. And today I'm gonna rank Clavicular's 31 looksmaxxing methods to transform your looks. And these are gonna be things that I've personally done and can vouch for and are actually backed by science, not random bullshit that's probably gonna make you look dumb. We're gonna start with the simple and easy things that you can do to your face and hair, and then we're gonna talk about enhancing your entire body, even up to enlarging your Johnson. Yes, I actually said that. This is all for the sake of science. I'm not holding anything back. Starting with the simplest, skincare. This is probably the most easily applicable thing that you can start with today. Sunscreen. If you don't do anything for your skin, the minimum you should do is use a sunscreen because the sun is constantly trying to destroy your skin and making you look like this guy who drove on one side of the road the entire time for some reason. There are the chemical ones that your skin basically absorbs, and then the ones that are mineral that go on top of your skin. It doesn't matter, just use one. S tier. Moisturizers. Your skin is dumb as fuck. It's constantly losing water, and the only way to stop it from losing water is to moisturize it. And that's gonna cause you to not have ugly wrinkles and age prematurely and look like a weirdo that Vitali makes a video about. I don't know what I'm saying at this point, but yeah. If you don't wanna have wrinkles, moisturize daily. I can hear you through the screen saying,
"Oh, I have oily skin. I don't need a moisturizer."
Guess what? All skin types need moisturizing. I am notorious for having oily skin. I used to have the pizza face, which I'll show you how to get rid of later in this video. But I use this water-based moisturizer. I feel like a skincare channel right now. A tier. Vitamin C serum. So you've protected your skin from the sun. What? Skunk? You've protected your skin from the sun and you've avoided sun damage. You've moisturized your face to avoid wrinkles. Now it is time to address your skin color. Okay, this is not a race thing. It's just that your skin has different colored spots if you don't use vitamin C. But if you use it, all your skin is going to be the same color and it's going to become glowy. All of these things are based on science, by the way. Vitamin C serum is an antioxidant. I'm just trying to memify things so that you can stay hooked in the video because I want you to look better. Vitamin C, A tier. Next, we have tretinoin. I don't know if you know this, but your skin is naturally renewing itself. You're a freaking lizard. You're a lizard. Harry. Dead skin is always falling off of your face and being replaced by new skin cells. This is my scientific explanation. Tretinoin basically speeds this process up, so it improves the bumpiness of your skin and it gives you a glass face look. It also enhances the look of any wrinkles or lines that have been formed in your face. There's multiple concentrations. I use the 0.025, which is the lowest concentration. I used to think if I use tretinoin and I make my skin generate faster, it's gonna replenish the fuel, as if like my skin is finite. So I didn't use it, which was dumb. I don't know if that made sense at all. But yeah, retinol is going into the S tier. But if you have what is known as pizza face, which I used to have, I used to struggle with this all of my teenage years, but I actually managed to get rid of it entirely right in time, because if I hadn't gotten rid of it at that time, it would have scarred my face and my skin and I would have been able to look so good. If you have acne, I fixed my pizza face with isotretinoin. This is like the nuke button for pimples. Obviously, consult with your doctor. This is not medical advice, and I'm pretty sure it needs a prescription. Don't let the pimples scar your face because that's irreversible, sorry. If you have pizza face and acne, this is going to be S tier, but just because it's a little bit risky and you need to monitor everything, I'm going to put it in A tier. Now let's move to the teeth and smile. Everything I'm going to talk about right now, I've tried for multiple years, and I'm going to tell you my results. One of the worst things you can do as a human being who's trying to accomplish things is to avoid smiling because you're insecure about how your teeth look. And it makes sense. That's what I used to do. I used to always have this pose in my face because I was subconsciously unhappy with my teeth. Now, studies are clear about this. People who have good teeth are perceived to be more trustworthy, more friendly. They get better career opportunities. They get more girls. You get the point. Now, two things define a good smile. Number one is the alignment, and number two is the shade or the coloring. For alignment, I've tried traditional braces when I was a kid. This is probably the best thing you can do for your alignment, for your jaws, for your face symmetry, because it's the gold standard. It's the most guaranteed way to get the best alignment. The only issue issue is it's visible as fuck and it takes a long time. So as long as you are being seen by people, having braces might be a problem. I'm gonna place it in A tier. And this is where something like Invisalign comes in. These are non-permanent braces that you can put and take out, and they look like this actually. I've used them. Excuse the crustiness, by the way. And you basically place them in your mouth. And just live your life normally. I actually got them from a knockoff brand. There are many ones that are really good, so you don't have to necessarily pay a premium fee. And this was a game changer for me because I actually managed to realign my teeth without anybody knowing about it. I would just remove the braces whenever I would go out of the house and put them back on when I was in the house. The biggest downside is that they're not really treating the root issue. They're just cosmetic. So they're making your teeth look nice, but your bite might not be as good as it could have been if you had worn traditional braces. Assuming you're older than 22 years old, it's an S tier. Now let's talk about the coloring and whitening. You have multiple options as well. All of them use peroxide to whiten your teeth. You can do laser or UV lighting at the dentist office, but it's actually considered the most harmful to the teeth. At least it's the one that annoys your sensitive teeth the most. So I'm gonna rank it as D tier simply because there's multiple other better options such as these things. It's basically a peroxide needle that you inject in your tray and then you put on the tray for an hour. There's multiple strengths with periods of time that you put on depending on how sensitive your teeth are. But these are going into the B tier simply because they are not as convenient and amazing as these whitening strips. I'm not gonna open this one up, but it's simply a strip that you put on your teeth for an hour and then you have white teeth. Not from one use, but after multiple uses. I recommend this highly. They're very convenient. I've tried all and this is the best one. By the way, this is super helpful. You can use AI to get your personalized facial optimization report using today's video sponsor, Genspark. I just gave it the link to this exact video and then I asked it to pick the highest ranked looksmaxxing methods from the video itself and apply them to my face. So within minutes, you can see it created a 9-page document that shows the before and afters using the AI slides feature. For example, in this slide, it told me that my current hairstyle in this photo elongates my mid-face, which is definitely true. It recommended this hairstyle that doesn't necessarily fit my age. I'm 32 years old, but you can see that the shape is definitely better than the other one. In this slide, it gave me tips to fill out the patchy areas in my beard, like using minoxidil and derma rolling. And here it recommends mewing and mastic gum to enhance gonial sharpness, to enhance the jawline definition. And overall, it did a really good job optimizing my grooming and looks in general and gave me a final before and after. Genspark is basically an all-in-one AI workspace. All the tools that you could ever need are just in one place. You have access to the most advanced AI models available like GPT-2 or Nano Banana for AI image generation and Kling and Seed Dance 2 for video generation. I've also really been enjoying the Speakly feature on my phone, which allows me to live translate everything I say on WhatsApp into multiple languages. I also use Genspark's mixture of agent feature, which allows me to talk to multiple LLMs at the same time, so I don't have to switch between ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini. So if you want to try it, you can use the link in the description to sign up on Genspark and you'll immediately get free points to use. Plus, all the paid users get unlimited AI chat and AI image generations until the end of 2026. This is huge. Thanks Genspark for sponsoring this video and saving my ass. Let's move to the jaw. This is my jawline for reference. Chewing gum. If you take a look at the photos of our ancestors, you can see that they had amazing teeth, even though they didn't have braces or Invisalign. I don't think they used to go to a dentist office back then. And the main reason for that is because they used to chew hard food, and now all of our food is AI slop, processed sugars, and ZCA food. So the best thing to combat that is to just chew hard gum. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, this doesn't really work in terms of combating evolution and making sure you look like our ancestors, but what it does do is to train our masseter muscles and make you have a more defined jaw. But these can make you develop temporomandibular joint disorder. That was a hard word to say. And it's basically when you overdo it, your jaw becomes stressed and there's no way to reverse that. So if you were to choose this route, only do it for 10 to 15 minutes a day and make sure the gum you're chewing is not too hard, just like my So this one is backed by science, but I'm gonna put it in B tier just because I've never personally tried it. Next one is jaw filler. Don't fucking do filler no matter what happens, no matter what anybody tells you. Filler is horrible and it migrates and it goes to other areas with time. No matter how amazing the temporary result is, you're probably gonna regret it later when it migrates. Absolutely D tier. Botox, however, in general, in the face, always gets confused with filler. People think it's just as bad, but it's really not. I'm personally an advocate of it. Using Botox before you form the hard lines in your skin, in your forehead, in your crow's feet is the best thing you can do. So preventive Botox is better than reactive one. I'm gonna put it in A tier just because it's not essential. Jaw implants. This is a bit extreme, obviously, but if you do have a very recessed chin and there's no other way to treat it, then I would recommend this personally. Again, consult your physician. As a rule of thumb, anything that is a procedure, it's for extreme cases. Let's put it in the B tier. Now let's move on to the entire face and more specifically de-bloating or having that model-esque look. First of all, I want to stress that just because you have a model-esque face doesn't necessarily make you more attractive than having a normal, somewhat full face. The reason I got chosen for a lot of the commercials that I've been chosen for is because I don't try to have that lean, super crazy look. Whereas if I was going for more runway, I would probably try to be more skinny and de-bloat my face. But I have to talk about this just because I know this look is what a lot of people want to have. If you've ever wondered why some people might have faces that look super bloated and balloon-ish, even though they have a low body fat percentage, it's simply because of water retention. We're basically consuming a lot of processed food that's full of sodium, aka salt. And salt leads to your face holding in a lot of water. Now, the antagonist to salt, the thing that combats it, is potassium. If I want to simplify it a lot, if you eat a lot of bananas, your body will flush away a lot of that salt. I'm gonna place it in B tier just because I can't imagine eating bananas to look better. It just sounds goofy as fuck. The better way to de-bloat your face is to manipulate your lymphatic system, which is the system that controls and drains the water from your face. You can basically get something like this, which is called a gua sha, and basically massage your face. This is going into A tier. One more thing that helps you have a model face that a lot of celebrities have been doing is a surgery called buccal fat removal, where they remove the fat pads inside of your cheeks. And I highly do not recommend it simply because the buccal fat in your face is what makes it look more youthful. So all of these celebrities are gonna have to deal with looking older once they grow a bit older, and this is irreversible. I'll put it in C tier just in case you want to look good now but don't give a fuck about looking good later. Maybe you have a modeling career that you want to optimize. I know a lot of people who've done that. No judgment here. Another way to remove the fat from your face is what Clavicular does to his ex-girlfriend, which is injectable fat dissolvers. This is something like lemon bottle in the face, and it's the same concept with buccal fat removal. These things don't necessarily make sense unless you're overweight and have given up on trying to lose weight naturally. Now, it wouldn't be a Looksmaxxing video without talking about mewing. Mewing is the idea of pressing your tongue to the roof of your mouth so that your jaw would develop naturally and you would breathe better. Now, this would have been amazing during puberty or during growing up, but there's not as amazing scientific evidence as to how much it works when you're an adult. I do recommend and practice it, so I'm gonna put it in A tier, but there's one thing that doesn't allow you to mew, which is more important, which is how narrow your palate is. And this is where we reach something a bit niche, which is palate expanding. If your palate or the roof of your mouth is too tight, even if you know about mewing, you're not gonna be able to artificially try to stick your tongue to the roof of your mouth simply because there's not enough space. So this is actually a very popular treatment simply because a lot of people are unable to breathe because of how narrow their palate is, simply because the roof of your mouth is also the ground of your nasal cavity. So if you have a narrow palate, you're gonna be unable to breathe well and sleep well. Your tongue is gonna obstruct your breathing while you sleep, and it's just an annoying thing. But it's also very annoying to treat it because you're gonna have to install something called the maxilla expander, which over time widens your palate but also creates a split in your teeth that you'll have to get traditional braces to fix. So because it's so hard, I'm gonna rate it as B, but this is very case sensitive. If you're someone who struggles with breathing and mewing, I recommend seeing a doctor and having this diagnosed. most. But because it's so hard and takes a long time, this is why people have come up with thumb pulling, which basically tries to imitate what a maxilla expander does by placing both of your thumbs on the roof of your mouth and trying to expand it manually, which the science doesn't support at all because a maxilla puts pressure on long periods of time, whereas no matter how much time you spend looking like a goofy trying to thumb pull, it's never going to amount to enough time. Plus, the pressure is going to be uneven, so you're going to have a dumb looking palate. So I would personally rate this as C tier. Now let's move on to the body, and particularly having a low body fat. This is probably what 90% of your looksmaxxing results will come from. Your jaw will become better, your cheekbones will become more visible, even in terms of how long you'll live and how nice of a life you'll have. But let's talk about methods for a second, because some looksmaxxers recommend as an appetite suppression. Yes. Obviously, the best common and standard way to do this is to be in a caloric deficit, which is basically eating more than you burn. Sorry, that's literally the opposite. Burning more than you eat. And this is where I can confidently recommend actually training and going to the gym. But for people who don't have willpower, a revolutionary solution for this right now is GLP-1 agonists. These are a bunch of drugs that trick your brain into thinking you're actually full, so you don't have that hunger anymore. So caloric deficit is gonna be S tier. GLP-1 is gonna be B tier, simply because if you don't develop the willpower, eventually you're gonna live on GLP-1 agonists your entire life. You're trying to skip a step or cheat in the game, but you can't live in the game if you don't stop cheating. That made absolutely no sense, but you get the point, I think. Now, if you're a gym bro, the most relatable problem with being lean is that you'll probably look small as well, especially while wearing clothes, which is why looksmaxxers recommend substance abuse, testosterone. This is where I have to remind you that this video is completely scientific. There is no judgment here. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of everything. First one is testosterone cycles, where you use it for a specific period and then you come off of it. Downsides are that you first risk hormonal shutdown. Basically, your testes stop working. Your brain is like, oh shit, I'm getting all this testosterone from outside? Guess I can just relax. Now, you can do post-cycle treatment to get your testes back and running, but it's not 100% guaranteed. So even if there's a one chance that my testes are not going to work anymore, I don't want it. There's also the health risks. Even if you don't use a lot of testosterone, you're still increasing your potential to have heart problems. RIPs is forever remembered. Probably the first real looksmaxxer on the internet. But there's also the physical downsides. Hair loss, acne, gyno. This is why testosterone cycles are going into the D tier. TRT, or testosterone replacement therapy. This is where things actually change. Why am I so excited? I don't know. From the age of 30 to 35, your testosterone, the natural one, actually starts dropping by 1% every year, which leads you to having low libido, low sex drive, feeling unmotivated, depressed as fuck. And this is where TRT actually becomes a very logical thing that you can do. Again, this is not medical advice. A lot of celebrities do it at this age, and it's also convenient that at this age you probably have already had children, so there's no issues about your testes not producing testosterone anymore. So TRT is the best way to start feeling younger and have more energy as you grow older. This is something that I feel good about, and I feel like I'll probably do it after 40 or 45. This is not something that you try for a period and then you stop like cycles. No, you have to use it your entire life. This is meant to be a replacement. This is why it's called replacement therapy. Only in this context, I'm gonna put it as A tier, but you're still gonna have to deal with the hair loss issue. And this is where 5-alpha reductase inhibitors come in. Because you have so much testosterone, it's going to convert into DHT, and DHT is what basically makes your hair fall. And 5-alpha reductase stopped that process from happening. There have been documented side effects, and there's a huge online debate on whether these side effects are as bad as the internet makes them out to be. I personally think they're overblown. From the science that I've taken a look at, the percentage of side effects is very low, and most of the time reversible when people stop the medication. But yeah, finasteride and dutasteride are different dosages of the same drug that has amazing results and has reversed male pattern baldness for millions of people. For more information about hair loss, I recommend this channel, Hair Cafe. He's done an amazing job just dissecting scientific studies. I'm gonna place them in A and S tier. While finasteride and dutasteride are gonna be the weapons you use to stop your hair from falling, minoxidil is what you're gonna use to stimulate that hair to grow back again. So I'm gonna place it in B tier. Now let's go to the legs, and this is where we can talk about limb lengthening surgery. This procedure actually started to treat people who have one leg longer than the other, but now people have been using it cosmetically. And it makes sense because height does matter more than superficial looks. Other than the fact that it can make you have modeling careers or basketball careers or things that are directly related to your height, even with things that aren't as directly related. About 58% of Fortune 500 CEOs are over 6 feet tall. But at the same time, only 15% of the entire population is over 6 feet tall. So there's a massive difference or overrepresentation in the CEO level. There are also studies that estimate that an extra inch of height equals to about $700 to $800 of extra yearly salary. But obviously the downside to limb lengthening surgery is that you're going to pretty much lose at least 1 to 2 years of your life just to recover. It's insane, and I can't imagine someone going through all of that. But again, it's a procedure. So the common rule is that procedures are for extreme cases. So if you're very, very short, it might be your only solution. But I genuinely don't recommend it. I'm going to put it in C tier for now. Now, finally, let's talk about Johnson enlargement. We're keeping scientific integrity as the most important thing, and we're not going to judge. This is a man-to-man conversation, even though this is going to be seen by thousands of people. But okay. First of all, there is no pill. Any promotion that you see about a pill that enlarges your Johnson is trying to scam you. The things that I'm about to mention have risks, so do not do this without consulting and being extra careful. There are two main things that you can do to enlarge your Johnson. The first one helps with the length, which is a Johnson stretcher, and it basically works by putting constant pressure on it to make it longer, which helps aesthetically but doesn't help functionally. And this is where we come to the second thing you can do to enlarge your Johnson, which is the Johnson pump. And it works by pulling blood into your Johnson, and that leads to increased girth and having better erections. I'm going to place the stretcher in C and the pump in A. I never thought I'd talk about this in my entire life, but my goal is to help everybody that might need them. I talked a lot about looksmaxxing and improving your looks, but I didn't mention dating. And I think this video is very helpful. It certainly was helpful to me when I was younger. So check it out, and I will see you in the next video.